Sven wakes up from a dream about his wife. His daughter Charlie is deaf, so he tells her in sign language that they both overslept and are running late. They head to the community screening and watch the astronauts returning to Earth. Charlie remarks that they haven't deployed their parachutes yet. She has read everything about space travel. Her mother Paula gets distracted and refuses to deploy the parachutes despite her co-astronaut called Hadi pleading with her to do so. Eventually she pushes the button and they manage to land. Benisha Modi, an Indian billionaire who made the adventure possible, heads to the site to welcome the astronauts back. Charlie says that Modi helped millions of people escape poverty and she wants to be just like her. At night, Paula calls Sven and says that something crazy happened, but then the call starts to disconnect. She then mentions the hare and the fox and promises that she will win the game next time, because she learned from the best. The next day, Charlie and Sven head to the airport to bring Paula home. They meet Rainer, who works at the Space Center. He's also Paula's boss. He promises Charlie to discuss his space adventure with her next time they meet. They spot Hadi's wife Mira and her boys who are waiting for Hadi. Mira's boys point out that the flight is delayed, where he encounters a Japanese woman crying. He then sees the police outside. He reunites with Mira, who says that the plane is gone. Sven and the other families head to their rooms. Sven keeps it together in front of his daughter, but eventually bursts out in tears as he hides in the bathroom. A flashback shows Sven, Paula, and their friends playing a board game called Fox and Hare. Sven comments that Paula has never beaten her daughter at the game. On the balcony, Sven drinks some alcohol offered by his neighbor. Sven regrets not listening to Paula and loses his cool. The lady inquires more about it, but he chooses to go back in. The next day, Sven goes to the conference room, where he learns that they spotted pieces of wreckage in the Atlantic floating in the water. A flashback shows Paula and Hadi working together. The federal police show up to interrogate Sven. They know that he talked to Paula before takeoff and she acted strange. It turns out that neighbor he met on the balcony told the cops. Sven calls them sick and walks away. He and Charlie decide to head back home. He tries to pay using his credit card, but it gets declined. Nora, who is Moody's assistant, pays for him, then hands Charlie a box from Moody. She finds inside a quote that reads, "Death is but a beginning." Sven explains that everything will be fine. Sven listens to a voicemail from Paula where she says that St. Nicholas Day is their 10-year anniversary and this time she wants them to do something big. Sven asks Mira if Hadi was acting strange. She says that he was because he had just come back from outer space. He mentions the voicemail and Mira urges him to be thankful he got to hear her voice one last time. However, he points out that he and Paula didn't meet on St. Nicholas Day, which is strange. Sven watches the TV clip of when the astronauts landed on Earth. He notices that it wasn't live. He asks Rainer for an explanation, but the latter reminds him that his wife just passed away and that he's just in shock. A flashback shows Charlie asking Paula how space smells, but they get disconnected. The next morning, Sven wakes up and sees Charlie watching the news talking about the plane crash. He tries to reassure her but ends up telling her that Paula might be dead. Just then, Sven gets a visit from two people, telling him that the air traffic control recorded fragments of a radio transmission. Sven listens to the message where Paula says she loves him. The woman asks Sven what Paula was doing in the cockpit. A final flashback shows Paula hearing someone say hello over the radio. Paula hears the voice of a child saying hello and wonders where it's coming from. She writes the coordinates on her arm and informs Hadi about the signal that she thinks is coming from the deepest reaches of space. Paula wants to inform her colleagues, but Hadi points out that this is a big deal, and the politicians won't let them anywhere near the signal. They try finding it again, but to no avail. Charlie hears her mother's voice and thinks she came home. Sven explains that it's just a recording and hugs her. She's happy when her grandparents pay them a visit. The federal police do a thorough search of the house, trying to figure out why Paula was in the cockpit. A flashback shows Paula telling Sven that the choice is his, whether to divulge her medical report or burn it. Paula notices a bug on her arm and gets some sleep. The next day, she tells the other astronauts about the signal. As she tries to play the recording for them, she discovers that it's not there anymore. Hadi claims that she has space sickness and is pranking them. Later, Hadi claims he doesn't know anything about the signal and tries to calm her down. Later, she stabs her arm and sees bugs coming out of the wound. She patches herself up and goes to bed. She wakes up after more than 20 hours. She tells Benisha about the signal and calls herself reckless because she lied and did everything she could to get up there, finish the program, and find what they're looking for. She is certain that she is a danger to herself and her colleagues. Benisha advises her to get back to work and stop calling what she is having hallucinations, but instead call them visions. A flashback shows Paula, Sven, Mira, and Hadi having fun in the amusement park. Paula takes a drug and starts hallucinating. In the present, Sven assures Charlie that he is there for her and doesn't want her to have false hope. He later meets with Mira, and they realize Paula lied to him and kept taking pills even before the launch. He rushes home and finds the pills hidden in a ball. The following morning, reporters and relatives from the plane crash show up at Sven's house. They attempt to enter Sven's house and accuse Paula of being a murderer. They start throwing stones at the house. Sven asks Charlie's grandparents to get her out of the house. Charlie doesn't want to leave as she is expecting her mom to contact her via the radio. Later, she returns home and begs her dad not to make her leave. Nora shows up and conveys her sympathy for the family's plight, but she gets attacked. Charlie tells her dad that she just talked to her mom, but Sven replies that he's had enough and takes away the radio. Feeling angry, she wishes he were gone instead of her mom. Rainer calls and tells him that something isn't right and it's a cover-up. Someone rings the bell and he hangs up. Sven and Charlie head to Mira's place. He then rushes to Rainer's house and finds a confidential file addressed to him. He then drives to Mira's house feeling happy. He tells her that Hadi and Paula discovered something incredible. He then learns that Charlie isn't in her bed. A man who attacked him earlier is outside waiting in his car. A flashback shows Paula catching Hadi changing the tapes. She cries as she realizes that she wasn't hallucinating. A flashback shows Paula telling Sven that there are things out there bigger than them that are worth fighting for. In the present, the man in the car drives away and Sven chases after him. He catches up with him and beats him up as he looks for Charlie. The man starts crying as he misses his wife and kid who were aboard the plane. Another flashback shows Paula pretending to sleep when Hadi checks up on her and caresses her face. Later, she informs Benisha that the signal is real and Hadi is looking for it secretly but doesn't know where to find it. Benisha pleads with her to watch out. Charlie is walking on the road on her own. She reaches a deserted place and someone grabs her. Sven realizes where she is, and as he leaves, the two cops stop him to question him. He shares the file with one of the cops and she is astonished to discover that something is on its way to Earth. In a flashback, Paula asks Sven why she always loses in the fox and hare game. He explains that the hare always stays 2 steps ahead of the fox. The alarm starts blaring as they're losing some pressure due to a leak. The 3 astronauts move to the Japanese section to close the airlocks. Paula uses an oxygen mask and finds the signal. She is shocked to find out that it's getting closer. She then pretends to have fainted and her colleagues look after her. Sven forcefully drives the cop to a deserted place. He asks her to help him in order to find out what happened to the passenger plane. Since Rainer talked to the aviation authority in Santiago, who gave him some information. Paula tells Benisha that the signal is moving. She needs more information to calculate where and when it's gonna hit Earth. Benisha advises Paula to find out all that she can and come back down safely. She also urges her not to share the information with anyone, as nobody must be trusted, which means she is on her own now. Sven reaches the same place where Charlie is, and as he starts looking for his daughter, he steps on a mine. The woman holds him at gunpoint and orders him not to move. She disarms the mine and removes a tracker from his car that she plants on a pigeon to send the cops away. Then she takes him inside where he reunites with Charlie. They watch the news revealing that they found the black box. The audio from the cockpit is released to the public, so the crash wasn't Paula's fault. The woman plays them the recording that says hello and reveals that she and her community heard it for the first time 2 years ago. She kept hearing it every 13 days for a couple of hours, and she's determined it's not a child and must be an alien. Sven realizes that Paula wants them to make the information public so they can't erase it from the record. The pigeon returns and the house is surrounded, so the woman takes them into a panic room, but Sven chooses to leave in order to transmit Paula's message. He and Charlie try to flee, but the army corners them and takes them away. The cops try to contact Sven as they're certain that something might happen to him, but they are unable to reach him. They realize that they're targets just when a truck collides into them, causing their car to flip. Sven is driven to a military zone where he reunites with Raynor. The latter explains that their government is playing it safe and avoiding any danger. That's why they're shooting the object down, because they don't want other nations to get its hand on the aliens' advanced technology first. Hadi knows that Paula has the coordinates. She refuses to share it with him, so he locks her in and stops the oxygen flow. He doesn't want the coordinates to get out to the public, as it will become a political disaster that can only end one way. She eventually gives in and shares that the flying object will land on Earth on September 6th at 6:17. She adds that she's been receiving its signal for 3 months now, and everyone can hear them because now the information is out. Charlie and Sven hear the alarm and go outside. They witness the military destroying the strange object as it lands on Earth. Hadi begs Paula to forgive him, stressing that he's not the bad guy in this game. He's just a pawn. He reveals that he didn't want this because they had his children. She doesn't say anything and deploys the parachute. In the present, Sven and Raynor are freed as the military believes that now they don't carry state secrets. At home, Sven spots numbers on Charlie's arm. He checks her notebook and realizes that they are coordinates. A flashback shows Benicia welcoming Paula back. She informs her that the object is lost as they all agreed to take it down. Paula reveals that it's a good thing the government doesn't have the right coordinates. She assures Benicia that the coordinates are a family secret. She knows that they will set watchdogs on her, so she plans to play along until she's home, but she needs Benicia's help in letting the world know. In the present, the news says that no object approached Earth nor got detonated, and the army shot at nothing. Sven checks the coordinates on Charlie's arm and realizes that Paula fooled the others. There is even a date and a time. They realize that the army is coming back. Sven's neighbors help them flee. However, a truck rams into their car and they fall off the cliff. Sven uses the remote that Nora gave him. They wake up in Benicia's house and have a meal together. Charlie asks why she chose Paula, and Benicia says it's because she was smart and crazy enough to want to change the world. Charlie shows her the real coordinates. They realize that they have 14 hours left. A flashback shows Paula having a thought. She confronts Benicia, asking that if Hadi is the pawn in the game, then who is the queen? Benicia flies Nora, Sven, and Charlie on a chopper. When Sven switches on his phone, he checks a text that reads Benicia Red Hand, meaning that she was the one who bombed the plane where his wife was. Since his phone is bugged, Nora reads the text. She informs Benicia, and the latter asks Sven not to make a fuss and worry his child. Sven reminds her that she killed 178 people, but she feels no remorse. Sven asks Charlie to come sit next to him, but they threaten to shoot him. They reach a location where people dressed in white are standing in a circle. Benicia tells Charlie to join her, but she says screw you in sign language. Benicia and her people start praying. They wait, but the alien object doesn't show up. Sven recalls what Paula told him and understands her message. Benicia orders Charlie to give her the correct coordinates, but Charlie says she doesn't know. Benicia shoots Sven's leg. Charlie cries, repeating that she doesn't know. Sven tells Benicia that nothing is coming and reminds her that Paula was terrified of her own hallucinations. Charlie asks her dad if he thinks Paula is crazy, but he says they need to be 2 steps ahead of the fox. Benicia orders her goons to shoot Charlie first so she's not scared. Nora tries to reason with her, but Benicia hands her a gun and orders her to shoot them. Nora fires 2 bullets in the air and tells them to stay down. She decides to let them live as she gets on the chopper. Sven remembers when Paula told him about their 10-year anniversary on St. Nicholas Day. He figures that it's the day when the object will fall from the sky. 3 months later, they watch the news that talk about the arrest of Benicia and Nora. Then they head to the location and wait. The NASA's Voyager falls from the sky. Charlie hears the message hello and opens the space probe. She finds a golden record, and as she touches it, she hears the message recorded in 1977. It consists of greetings in 55 languages. The Voyager was sent into space by humankind in the 1970s, which means that somebody out there sent the probe back to humans.